Herd at Sports Radio. Every weekday morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Join hosts Robbie Lula and Damon Benning and our cast of Herd at Sports personalities as they share their fresh perspectives while keeping you highly entertained. Take a dive into the latest news in all things sports, from the pros to right here at home. Catch Herd at Sports Radio with Robbie Lula and Damon Benning, 7 to 10 a.m. on air, online, and on podcast. Herd at Sports Radio.
WTL. It's time! WTL.
I think we got a show. Oh, yeah, we got a show.
WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the Line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, we are. And a lot of things happening around Nebraska, of course, headlined by the CWS, the College World Series.
Yeah.
A couple of SEC teams doing fairly well.
Coming down to the coming down to the thick of it. It's SEC.
It is
kind of like what we were saying at the when we started talking about it. We were wishing some other teams to get in there, but like you said, Volunteers already punched their way to the championship, and a couple other ones trying to get in. Yeah,
A&M's doing well. Florida's proved their mettle and that they deserve the bid. Obviously, they knocked out Nebraska, so I guess I'm kind of ready to get around. But anyhow, we got to talk about the Travelers Championship. Following the U.S. Open at Pinehurst in North Carolina, the PGA Tour pros are heading to Cromwell, Connecticut. Got some for the TPC River Highlands course. Yep, this is a par 70, only 6,835 yards, a $20 million purse. The winner is going to take down $3.6 million. And it was fun to see old Bryson DeChambeau.
The man, DeChambeau, on the cusp of a Rory choke.
Oh, my God.
Bryson got hot at the end, and it was really fun to see Bryson do that.
Yeah, it was. And people were saying, well, that's good for golf, that needs a villain. And it's like, well, he's also a fun personality.
Yeah, he's good for golf. He's awesome.
Like him, love him, hate him.
Yeah, and it was good for golf that Rory did that as well. So I loved it all. It was a great tournament.
Yeah, Rory just straight up said, I'm not going to TPC. I'm out.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to the River Highlands. Sorry.
Yeah, I got to do some unpacking here. So.
I don't blame him.
So that leaves. And I want to say oddly enough, but not really, Scotty Scheffler's your overall favorite. Even though he barely made the cut.
Barely.
Ended up tied for 41st. Didn't have a real strong showing.
No, he did not.
In
one tournament this year. In one tournament.
I mean, what has he got? 5 wins going for his 6th, and he's
in one arrest.
And a lot of these models actually have him winning his 6th here, and that's why he's at plus 360.
Yeah,
he is your overall favorite there, followed by Xander Schauffele at a plus 700.
Yeah,
and then you can kind of go from there. Morikawa at a plus 1200.
Hayward, Hovland, Cantley. Yep, they're all there. Pretty much plus 2,000, anywhere from plus 1,500. But yeah, Andy, I do think Xander Schauffele has a very good chance of winning this, as well as Colin Morikawa as well.
Oh, yeah.
These top 3, I believe, are heads and toes above the rest of the field right now, playing really good golf. So I like these top 3. Why don't we get in a little bit of these long shots, Andy, that we think can take down this tournament above these 3 guys?
All right, let's do it. Let's go for the long ball.
Yeah. My first long shot that I really want to talk about is Keegan Bradley's at plus 5,000, Andy.
Okay.
He's the defending champion.
Yep.
I think he's going to have a little bit more energy coming into this because it's his home region event. It was a no surprise last season that Bradley won after a major at a place where he, kind of has an affinity with. So I really like Keegan Bradley, especially if you can get stuff going early for this to, maybe cash out, because the plus 5,000, you don't have to put a lot of money on it, and you don't feel so bad about it if it doesn't hit. But I think he's going to have a lot of energy. He's won here before, and it's his home region, so I really like Keegan Bradley plus 5,000.
I mean, how many times have we seen the guy that's playing close to home, right at a home course, really come to life? Even though he's been struggling earlier in the season or whatever the case may be, now you're getting back to familiar grounds, and he's not playing bad golf.
No, he's not playing
by
bad
any means either.
at all.
So a lot of things looking good there for old Keegan Bradley, and just looking at some of these different articles up and down here, his name does keep cropping up. It's kind of a hot pick right now as far as when you get down, kind of get off of the odds-on favorites.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. And another one that I just want to kind of throw out there is Tony Finau. Finau has really turned things around with 4 straight finishes of top 18 or better, highlighted by
one meltdown,
Yeah, highlighted by a top 3 at Pinehurst. So his price speaks, mediocre at TPC, River Highlands at plus 3,300. But I think, I think he could definitely do it. We've seen him do it before, and I think this is one of the better value plays if you're looking for that winner. So, they're both long shots, but with really good value.
I'm looking at some of these top 15 finishes, and I think Keegan Bradley fits that perfectly for me.
No
that's where I kind of like to put him right there in that top 15 range.
There you go.
You also got Patrick Cantley, another hot name.
No doubt.
And Jason Day. It's hard to get away from Jason Day because
it is.
The talk of this course is you got to be good with your irons. What is Jason Day?
That's
excellent.
him.
He's excellent with his irons.
Yeah, I was Jason Day. I really like his top 10 finish right now is at plus 550.
Okay.
So that's a really good value bet for Jason Day. I was thinking just because of everything you just said with his iron play, and he's going to keep his head on straight probably to the last day. So I really like Jason Day. Top 10 finish plus 550.
Yeah, and your top 3 bets are Aberg, Cantley, and Scheffler, so that's where your lines are also going to be the sharpest. So, when we're kind of, diving into the book here, digging in there, that's where you're going to get some of these value plays. And you also, I don't think you want to give it away quite yet, but you do got a parlay coming up here.
I got a top 20 finish parlay with 3 golfers, and a couple of these we have talked about already, but, I'm going to save that for the end. Another one of my top 10 plays, Andy, that I really want to get off my chest is Brian Harmon. Top 10. You look at Expert, you go to any freaking site there is, everybody says this guy is going to be top 10 this week. That's why it's sitting there at plus 300. This guy is a perennial contender at TPC River Highlands, so he should be on your radar for sure on the board. Top 10 in 4 of his last 5 starts in this event, Andy.
Where is he at odds-wise?
Plus 300 for top 10.
Oh,
for top
you're
10.
Just talking top 10.
Top 10.
DeChambeau won last week, and he came in at a plus 1,800.
Right.
And that's not a top 10. That's to take it down, of course. But we have seen crazier things happen. All these guys are so darn good.
Yes, they are.
That it's kind of hard to pick and choose, and you try to find that little bit of an edge, and that's what we're doing right here.
For sure. And my funnest head-to-head matchup, Andy, this week is definitely the 2 buddies, Justin Thomas over Jordan Spieth. I'm taking him. It's at a minus 120 right now. These guys are going to be 2 of the most popular guys to bet this weekend just because they're fun and friends and all that kind of stuff. But Spieth's crazy win here in 2017 is so far away, so long ago.
It is.
Justin Thomas is playing just a lot better this year, so I think he should get that head-to-head matchup done over Spieth, and that's why you have him sitting there at a minus 120 right now.
Yeah. And, just your overall odds, you got Justin Thomas at a 35 to 1.
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth way on down the list at a 50 to 1. So
correct.
I obviously like that Justin Thomas.
No doubt. It just head to head. All he has to do is beat Spieth. I'm not saying he'll do anything else, but he's definitely a guy that has taken down tournaments before, so has Spieth. But no, I just like him over Spieth. They get back and forth on each other a little bit. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and we're talking about Spieth. 50 to 1 isn't bad here. Keegan Bradley, we're talking about him a little bit. He's 55 to 1.
Yeah.
So there's not, like we were just saying, there's not a lot of wiggle room between these guys.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. Okay, should we just get to our winners, who we think is going to win?
Let's get to it.
I think Xander Schauffele at plus 750. I'm not a huge fan of these odds because it's so low to take down a tournament.
4 to 1.
But I believe There's probably better value out there, but I think this PGA Championship guy has enough energy left in the tank to have a lot of fun here and win this tournament. I think he is the best bang for your buck right now with these top three. I like that Colin is at a plus 1,200, but I do believe Xander has edges over him, and everybody's going to feel so dumb the week that Colin Morikawa does take down a tournament.
Oh, it'll happen.
It's no secret that Morikawa is on the cusp of a victory. Yeah. It'll probably happen sooner rather than later, but every golf bettor is going to be kicking themselves on the week that it actually happens because we've been saying this week in, week out that Colin's going to win. But I really do believe that Xander Schauffele will take this down. Plus 750. I know it's not the best odds, but I believe he will win the tournament.
Yeah, he's at a 15-2 behind Scotty Scheffler. Yeah. And I'm just looking at too many models on Scotty. I don't really like betting that at all. Right. But he's my pick to win it.
Yeah,
he is my pick to take it down. It's Scotty Scheffler. You're not going to keep that guy down too far. And, I mean, he's on pace to win his sixth tournament of the season. Yeah. And last week, it was a little bit of an off week. He's going to be looking to bounce back here.
No doubt.
So I like old Scotty.
Yeah, he's minus 105 to go top 5 and minus 225 to go top 10. So you can tell that the sports betting world has been putting a lot of money on him and not going to get bit by him. So
for good reason.
So Scotty's as safe as pick as you can get. I just think with a little more value, Xander's there. So
finding that betting edge, that betting value, I like Xander a little bit better. I'm just thinking if I'm picking winners, I'm picking Scotty.
If you're picking winners, you're picking Scotty. That's just the way it goes.
All right, Mr. Parlay Pounder, let's hear it.
Okay. Two of the guys I've already talked about, obviously. Top finish parlay, 3 guys. All they got to do is all of them have to finish in the top 20.
Top 20.
Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, and Russell Henley. I believe all 3 of these guys are just playing really, really good golf right here. Russell is at a plus 3,000 to take down this tournament, so not crazy odds. Yeah. He's all the way down to a plus 250 to go top 10. So you can tell that this guy is on the verge and, just a pretty dang good golfer. So I like this. You put all 3 of these together at a plus 300, Andy. All you have to do is put $25 on this to win 100.
There you go. And Henley's at 40-1 to take it down. So he's tied with Tommy Fleetwood. Yeah. He's in front of Jordan Spieth and behind Justin Thomas, who we just talked about. No doubt. So this guy's not out of the realm to get that top finish for you.
No doubt.
Stay in the mix.
Top 20. Xander, Colin, and Russell. Plus 300 bet, 25 to win 100.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Nebraska Brewing Company. And we have found ourselves enjoying the pickle fight once again.
Yeah, it's a pickle punch to the throat.
Pickle punch to the throat. It is a very good pickle beer. And pickle beers are so hot right now.
They are.
And at the top of the list, our list, it's the Nebraska Brewing Company. World class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.
I'm
just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last.
WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. You know what that stands for. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, and we, it's been a minute since we've talked UFC.
Yeah, it has been.
So we got to talk UFC once again.
We got to do it.
Heading on over to the Kingdom Arena in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Hot land. I don't have anything on the
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I don't think so.
And we're going to, but there has been a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
Which UFC always, loads up X,
they're
Twitter.
Pretty good at doing that.
They
really are.
So a lot of videos have been coming out of Saudi Arabia and all those good things. Let's start with that welterweight bout.
Yeah.
A couple of Americans making the trip, heading over, squaring off. Kevin Gastelum taking on Daniel Rodriguez.
D-Rod.
And D-Rod appears to be... to me, the numbers point to him, but the odds are all over Gastelum.
Yeah.
He's at a minus 245. JaBron, why?
What really this fight comes down to is who's the better boxer, Andy. And I think despite his lengthy career, Kelvin is in a better place right here. D-Rod right now. He looked good against Chris Curtis, arguably beat him. I think he kind of got a little bit of a screw job there, and then he has some real pop in his hands right now. So I think D-Rod's time at the top was short lived, and he's shown a little bit that he can get cracked. And so I think Kelvin is the better play here, obviously. And I'm not looking anything at this fight except for Kelvin Gastelum plus 350 for that KO. I think that's your best bet for this fight.
Really?
Plus 350 for a KO. I think he's going to knock D-Rod out. And Gastelum, he has a granite chin, so it's not going to happen the other way.
Okay.
It makes me lean towards Kelvin, and I believe it's going to be a knockout.
Gastelum looks like a guy that has to box his way out of trouble.
No doubt.
That's just how his body's shaped.
Yep.
And, I look at D-Rod, and I'm just looking into these stats here.
Yeah.
Significant strikes landed per minute.
Yeah.
He lands over 7.
Yep.
Gastelum lands only 3.5, almost doubles him up on significant strikes.
Yep.
So it's just kind of odd that I'm looking at these concrete numbers, and you're telling me that Kelvin is in a better spot to win by knockout.
And D-Rod has the reach, he has the leg reach, he has the height, he has all of the statistics go towards D-Rod. I'm telling you, Kevin Gastelum is going to win this fight, and he's probably going to knock him out.
Well, Rodriguez at a plus 200, so I don't want to argue too much there. Should we move up the card?
Let's move out the card. One statistic I did want to throw out there is Kelvin win by percentages here. 41% knockout. D-Rod, on the other hand, only 16%.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna fall into that 41% for Kelvin. So that's what I like about this fight.
Yeah, and that's how the odds makers have it drawn up.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, all right, well, if we move up to the heavyweight bout,
yes,
a couple big Russians squaring off here. The number 3 contender in the world taking on the number 5 contender in the heavyweight class here, and that is Sergey Pavlich. We're always talking about Sergey.
Yeah, Sergey.
Man, does he win by knockout quite often.
Yes.
Taking on Alexander Volkov, and he's kind of the opposite. This should be a very interesting match.
Yeah.
I was looking at average fight time, and you couldn't have a bigger discrepancy there.
Yeah, you really can't. You really can't.
By how these two guys score each other. Sergey's average fight time in his career.
Yeah.
2 minutes, 13 seconds.
Exactly, Andy. We all know that Sergey's going to come storming out of the gates.
Yeah.
Head down, swinging from side to side, trying to get, close, enter range, biting down on that mouth guard, just getting crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to be a little bit risky here, Andy.
Okay.
And I really like to pick Volkov here, Drago, as people would say, to tame Pavlovich at range with his kicks and beat him with punches with straight down the middle. I believe Volkov hasn't reached his full potential yet, and he's still filling out his giant frame, and he's still getting stronger. So I love Volkov here. I think Sergey is going to be a little, I think he's going to come in here a little overconfident in this fight, and I don't see why he should be, but I think he thinks he's going to knock him out, and I don't believe it because he's going to keep him at distance with these kicks that Sergey really doesn't get to see very often.
Yeah, when I was looking at that average fight time, Sergey's 2 minutes, 13 seconds.
Yep.
Volkov is at 12 minutes, 43 seconds. Almost the entire 5 rounds, the 3 rounds if you're going 5-minute rounds in the undercard.
It's going to be an awesome fight. I cannot wait to see this fight. Obviously, if you're looking at what the odds makers think is going to happen, Sergey to win by knockout is at a minus 145 right now.
He's a minus 230 overall favorite.
Exactly. And they think he's going to win by knockout, and it definitely could happen. Anytime when these big guys get in here swinging fists, it can happen. So I'm just not seeing a lot of value at minus 145 for Sergey to win by KO. So I kind of have to look down the card a little bit.
Right.
Plus 195 for Alexander Volkov is a really good parlay piece, I think, Andy.
Yeah, and Alexander, he's got so much more experience. Both these guys have been around the block.
No doubt.
37-10 lifetime record. That's a lot of bouts in the UFC.
It is, and I just don't think he's going to get knocked out. I think he's a lot smarter than that. He's going to keep him at reach, and I think that that is going to prove hard for Sergey, and he's going to make a lot of dumb mistakes.
Okay.
And Alexander is going to take a hold of that. So I really like the plus 195 for Alexander Volkov to take this one down.
Sergey's just a scary dude to look at. I mean, 6'3", 260.
Yes, he is.
And he has an 84-inch reach. On the other side, Volkov is 6'7".
Yeah.
It has an 80-inch reach. Gives up 4 inches, even though he's 4 inches taller.
Yeah, it's crazy.
These two guys.
It's crazy.
They got a couple of different body makeups here.
They do.
All right, should we move up to the main
Reaper. The Reaper.
Yes, sir. The number 3 contender in the middle weight class, Robert Whitaker, the Australian.
Yes.
He is your favorite at a minus 155, taking on another Russian. We just can't get away from these Russians. Alex Kirchhoff.
Yeah.
Is your underdog here, but not by much. 130, and I think we all see that, Whitaker's had a couple tough bouts, but that's against some elite competition.
Yeah, Andy. I just think that, the Reaper, I think a lot of people are, down on him because he's struggling bouts against the likes of Darren Till, Jared Cannonier, Paulo Costa, obviously his defeat against Duplessis. But I just think this is a really good bounce back fight for him. It was going to be another huge super fight with Chimaev, but he bowed out. Yeah. A lot of that going around. I'm so mad about UFC 303. No Conor McGregor. I'm kind of a rider for Conor, so I'm really mad about that coming up here at the end of June. But no, I love Robert Whitaker here to get back on pace, to get back in, fill those shoes. I know that Ikram here is the best guy that they could find on the block to throw at him in Saudi Arabia here, they're buying into his dominant record, which only includes one loss to who? Hazmat Chimaev, who he was supposed to fight. Right. So, no, my heart says Whitaker, and I think my wallet does as well. So, give me the Reaper. He's sitting right there right now at minus 155. I believe that will be going in the parlay laper here. Yes.
Yes. Ikram has really good grappling skills. Averages over 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, so about once every round. It's just that Whitaker is probably the best at defense.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best in the world.
So, it's really
just happens. It just happens.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to get away from Robert Whitaker in this spot. And I think he's going to be a little angry that he didn't get the fight he wanted.
No,
and he's going to take it on this guy.
This guy was that Chimaev was, just kind of a talker, and it seems that way. He's about out of 2 fights back to back, so it's hard not to say that. But I love Robert Whitaker. I think he's going to win. I think it's probably going to be by decision, which is kind of the way that he does stuff.
That's how
plays defense, puts a licking on him.
Yep.
That's at plus 250 right now, Andy. So I really like that value. Other than my parlay piece of the minus 155 for Robert Whitaker to win on money line.
Well, all right, Mr. Parlay Pounder, let's get into that parlay play.
Okay, it's 2 things that I've already talked about: Robert Whitaker minus 155 and Alexander Volkov at plus 195. Andy, I'm going down the card. Another American that I really like, Johnny Walker. We don't talk about him very much, but he's been in the UFC a long time. Really like him. He's at minus 112 right now. You put all those 3 together, plus 800, put 25 on that to win 225.
Okay, 225.
Whitaker, Walker, Volkov. That is the parlay. Just all money line.
All money line. So not getting too exotic there.
Nope.
Just trying to string together a 3-legger.
3 winners.
Playing that money line.
Yeah, let's do it.
Take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.
WTL.
Capitalism is the only way, Leslie. It moves our country forward. It's what makes America great. And England okay and France terrible.
WTL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Classen, and we got a very special guest here for this segment, Rod Vermilio. He is the founder, he's the CEO, he is just about everything for the Global Sports Betting Network. Rod, thank you so much for being here.
Andy, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this all week, so looking forward to getting on with you and sharing with your listeners some of the stuff with Global Sports Bet Network.
Right. Well, everybody that knows the show and knows me, a lot of this came from the fascination of, okay, you got your blowhards, your old coaches, and players, on every show. Half the guys say this, half the guys say that. I'm like, it's pretty easy for you to say who's going to win or lose, but those guys over there, Vegas, why is there such a big, heavy lean one way or the other? I'm going to go with those guys. So I've always been fascinated with that conversation and the why behind that. And that's obviously where you're coming from. You have figured out the why with some of this software that you've developed.
Yeah, so the software is a derivative of the Forex market software and day trading software for the conventional forms that most people know, Forex, the stock market, futures markets, and that sort of thing. I didn't want to spend 8-10 hours a day diving into games when you're talking about, hey, well, let's see, they're on a Thursday between, when the wind's blowing out on a grass infield. I just didn't want to get that deep into it. So ours is based strictly around math. There's all this talk and all this noise in the industry about, oh, well, inside information and this and that. Listen, nobody has more information than the sports books generally. Right. And so I just said, they do all the heavy lifting for us. Let's just look at it as a math and algorithm and statistical model. Pair it with an investment type model and do a day trading. So you're not simply just sports betting, you're really treating it as a long-term day trading platform. And that's generally what the program's about.
Yeah, and you guys are extremely transparent on, just as you mentioned there, how you came up with this. And you guys put your money where your mouth is. I find that very interesting. Every day you come out with a ledger showing these are the bets we hit, these are the bets we missed, and then you can kind of detail it from there exactly which direction you're going.
Right. And that's one of the things. I didn't share the software with the public for the longest time. We used it ourselves. Back when COVID hit, I expanded it from 30 lines, which at that point was getting 20 to 40% returns. For an investor, if you got 20 to 40% returns, they'd say, where do I sign up, right? Back in the day, I was offered $3 million for that software. I ended up turning that down. When COVID hit, I finally had the time to sit down, increase the program to 200 lines, and now we're getting 60 to 80% returns annually through our platforms, which are huge numbers. We personally went through and did a proof of concept using our own money. We ran between $2 and $4 million a year through the sports books here in Las Vegas, and recently got on the radar and we're limited. And one of the reasons that I wanted to go public and share the information is there's so many misconceptions in the sports betting world. There's so many people that want to say, oh, well, a brick of cash and on their collector car and all this stuff, and I won this much last night. It's not quite like that, as you well know. But I got a hold of a guy one time, and there's call rooms and all these high pressured salespeople out there giving information out. None of them will show you their tickets of what they play, put their money where their mouth is, as you put it. But one of the things, there's no transparency. I wanted to be the first sports information betting and day trading platform that actually did that and actually did it with 100% transparency. One of the guys I'd gotten a hold of it's probably been 8 years ago now. I got a hold of him. He said, well, how much money do you want up front? And I said, I don't want any money up front. And I said, I want to get you on house money or profits. And as well as I do, when you're sports betting or you're doing any kind of trading or investing, right? The big key is to get on house money. That's the way you eliminate and reduce your risk. And so I get him up $700 first week, and he calls me and he says, Rod, how do I get paid? And I said, well, how were you paying? He said, a guy would come by and give me I'd give him an envelope full of cash. I said, well, you ought to, a guy ought to come by and give you an envelope full of cash. So I knew he was playing somewhere that was illegal to bet.
Right.
And so I said, well, I'm kind of confused. And he said, what do you mean? I said, you sound like you've been doing this for a while. And he said, well, I have. And he said, I've never won. I said, not 1 week. And so he had gotten hooked up with a bunch of these call rooms and high pressured salespeople.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, how much are you down? I said, he goes, I'm embarrassed to tell you. And I said, I can't help you if you don't tell me. Mm-hmm. He was actually down $297,000. A retired caterer. His wife had no idea. And I said to myself at that point, if I could get with a team that could create a platform, a day trading platform to help people not get stuck or not get taken to the cleaners like that, I would do it. And that's how we decided to come up with Global Sports Bet Network, and why we're not afraid to put our money where our mouth is, because we know how good the software works.
Yeah, and along with that transparency, and it's something I'll be transparent. I signed up for it. You guys have Inside Wagers. That's one of your platforms on the website, and every day you will email out a minimum of 3 plays that you think are your software comes up with, and says this is some viable stuff here. I actually took 2 of the 3 today, so we'll see. But how does the software kind of come up with that without diving too far into the weeds, where you're comfortable enough with sharing all this, kind of for free without making people pay for it?
One of the things you got to realize is yes, we give on the Inside Wagers through the Global Sports Bet Network website, we do give out 3 free plays a day, right? And if you go to the next level of platform, those first 3 plays will be also included in those, right? And so, and those go on down the line to our premier packages, where you get into money lines, run lines, a lot more exotic plays for those that are experienced. And why we do the Inside Wagers is to get you on house money and get you used to following what we do. If you notice on our plays, it's not just the plays themselves. It's almost important as the amount you risk per your bankroll. And so we'll have a line on there that says, this is the cash that we're risking. And then right underneath that, which is very, very important, is a percentage. I may be playing with a $100,000 bankroll or a $25,000 bankroll. Mm-hmm. So my play is going to be different than somebody playing with $1,000 capital account or bankroll. And that is one of the keys to the software. But we input all the data for 200 lines, right? Investment lines or trade lines. And it tells us what mathematically has the best chances to win. So it'll lean one way or another. For example, you know how the sports books work, of course. They want to get 50% of the bets on each side of a trade, right?
Yes.
So they charge 10% juice or vig. So that number is usually going to be between 40 and 60 in the long run, right? So if you know a team has gone 30% against the spread over the last 20 games, the chances are there's a slight lean that they're going to start covering against the spread. So that's just one of the mathematical statistical algorithms that the software takes into account when it's producing the information that we give out. So it goes much deeper than that, as you know, but that's just one of the many things that is a math and statistical lean that tells us whether that's a value play or not.
Well, and you already kind of talked about the day trading side of it, or that's how you treat it, and that it's not a get rich quick. And when you see those touts and those type of flamboyant guys on TikTok and X, with their Ferrari behind him and 3 girls, I mean, that sends up red flags like crazy for me. So I appreciate the the talk of, hey, let's take it slow, let's do 3 here, let's do 3 there, and play by the bankroll. I think that's where a lot of guys get off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, the reason most sports bettors lose money in the long run is they may have $1,000 set aside to, and this is true with any investment, and they're firing away $100 a game. We've got, some of our platforms, the Vegas Syndicate Wagers platform, that's the most aggressive. It's up over 75% year to date right now, net profit. So we're on pace to do over 150% annual returns. But the key is that when you start looking at those numbers, right? The key is, an $80,000 bankroll, we're playing $25 units, $30 units, $50, $70 units. We're not firing away $5,000, $3,000. You've got to treat it like a long-term investment. And we don't know anybody out there that has a platform quite like ours. As you know, we're starting to get a lot of traction, and we've got a lot of companies that are coming at us that want to do some joint venture stuff. But I don't want to sell like those people. We make money by day trading ourselves. We use the software ourselves. And so I just want to teach people the correct way. And you're right. Those guys that market like that, they make a lot of money, but they never have their own money where their mouth is.
Right. Another thing that I really sparked my interest, and it goes along with your theme here, being transparent and being honest up front. Your book, the Sports Betting Bible, that's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, I can't take the credit from that. My marketing guys take the credit for that, but it's just, you can get on the website and get the book, and it'll read just like I'm telling you. It'll show examples of the actual software. And there's so many people out there say they have a software, so many people that are giving out different sides. So, ESPN, VSiN, they were at one time giving out a lot of good information to sports bettors. Now it's all watered down. And like you said, you'll get 8 guys on a panel, 4 of them come up with one side, 4 of them come up with another side. Well, we all know that, most people can hit 50%. It's those select few that can get into the 60s. And when you start talking about some of the touts out there and saying, oh, we're hitting 80%, they're not hitting 80%. I don't care what they tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of funny if you look at some of those tickets, they're like minus 400 bets too. It's like, well, that's kind of a risky ordeal there, going down that lane. Rod, where can people find you?
You can go to globalsportsbetnetwork.com, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. We've got all the social media channels out there. Globalsportsbetnetwork.com is the main website. That's the umbrella. You're going to have, you can go and sign up for Inside Wagers. Inside Wagers is free, 3 picks a day. And that'll get you started. You can start tracking it. I know you've probably been watching it for a while before you signed up. The Discord will give everybody an explanation of all the different platforms that are out there. And I can tell you that anybody can do this if they follow along. We have one client that is in Las Vegas, and she's a housewife, right? Stay-at-home mom, and her kids are getting older, and she went to her husband. She goes, I think I want to do something to bring some money into the household. And he said, okay, well, whatever you want to do, I'll support you. And she comes to him and says, I think I want a sports bet. And he goes, no, and find something else. And she just kept on and on and on about it. And she was hearing all this noise about, oh, I made $8 million this year, and all this craziness that they say out there. I'm hitting 85%. Well, he finally said, look, I'm tired of hearing about it. I'm going to give you $5,000. When it's gone, it's gone. She said, okay, fair enough. So she ends up signing up, gets sucked into one of the touts that are selling unrealistic expectations. She doubles her money pretty quickly, and she's all excited. And then it starts to tank, right? Like most of them do. She finds us back when she has her original bankroll, our capital account, and comes in, starts following our system, and she has tripled her money, and follows it day by day, and just she says, it's so easy. It takes me less than 15 minutes a day. I don't know why everybody doesn't do this. And so it's not, you don't have to, like you and I love sports. We watch sports. We played sports. You don't have to be a sports person. You know, sometimes the less you know about sports, you don't try to overthink it, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, don't think you have to be a big sports person or an investment guru or a banker. It's very straightforward.
And I also saw that you guys are kind of firing up a YouTube channel as well, as are we. So I'm always cruising over there. You guys are pretty good about getting your the sheet put out there from the day before. And yeah, you show the ones that hit, you show the picks that missed, the whole 9 yards. So I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, and I've had other people that have reached out to us and said, well, you need a third-party verification, right? And I said, well, really, we don't. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, because we post, if you're a subscriber and you go to the website for any platform that we have, and you purchase the bets or trades every day, and you see that we've posted something different than what we posted the day before, you're going to call us out all over social media. We don't do that. We're not going to tell you we win every day. We don't win every week. We've had one losing month the entire year. But like I said, we're making money. There is no other investment platform conventional on the market that you can go out and control your money every day, right?
Yeah. And
make the types of returns that we're getting. So I just want to teach people the most effective and responsible way to sports bet. I don't, I work really hard for my money, as you do, and most people out there, and I just don't want to see them getting taken for a ride and buying unrealistic expectations.
Well, Rod, thank you for taking the time and hopping on with us. I get kind of nerdy about this stuff, especially when you start crunching numbers like that and bring that other perspective. You even said in there, you don't have to be a sports guy to make this work, and you can see that if you just be diligent and follow through. So, Rod, thank you so much for hopping on with us here today.
Andy, anytime. It was a pleasure talking to you. Tell your brother I said hello, and we'll catch up soon.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder, he's tuning in. You can bet on that.
Good luck this weekend, guys.
Don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL.
TL.
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
No, that's not how you uphold the law.
TL.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? I'm your host, Andy Classen, joined by
JaBron.
The Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back.
Yes, and how about old Rod Vermilio?
Yeah.
Founder and CEO of the Global Sports Betting Network. I don't know about you, but I'm a sucker for all those numbers, that information. Yeah. Any little thing that I can read that can give me a different perspective or another thought kind of rolling around my head. A little edge.
Yeah.
I welcome it to the fold.
Love that. That was a great interview.
Yeah, it's always interesting talking to those guys. They just see things, in, especially him. It's all numbers. It's all mathematics. So he can compartmentalize and take a team out of it. Where maybe I'm handicapped a little bit on.
For sure, I know stuff. I am.
So that's our transparency right there. Let's talk some more MLB, a little baseball, some futures, how the teams are doing right now, who's hot, who's not, and let's start with your Minnesota Twins.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. About a week and a half ago, they were in the middle of a 5-game losing streak.
Yep.
You know how you get right? You schedule the Colorado Rockies and the Oakland Athletics
back to back, baby.
Go on they're in the middle of a 6-game winning streak right now, looking pretty darn good. However, the Guardians are still out in front to win this division, but the Twins are right behind them.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. I really like the value you can get at the Twins right now at a plus 220 to take down this division. Yep. Obviously, they're 5 games back still, but they are surging right now. And I know what a lot of people to the south of us are going to say. What about us? What about the Kansas City Royals? And you have to give them their due. They are only a half game back of the Twins. Yep. They've had a great season, 41-33 right now. Like I said, only a half game back. But you do get a lot more value out of the Royals, and I believe it's for a reason. I do not believe they have top to bottom the amount of talent that the Twins have. Maybe overall talent, top couple players or something. Yeah. But pitching staff and day-to-day lineup, they do not touch the Twins. They do not touch the Guardians. I believe they're going to fall off, and that's why you're seeing that huge discrepancy at a plus 390 to a 220 to the Twins.
They have well outplayed the the Kansas City Royals. Preseason, they were looking at a plus 3,000 to win the division. No, they're at a plus 450.
Right.
But it does just kind of feel like the Royals might be due to fade just a little bit here.
Yeah.
The Yankees beat them up pretty good, swept them about a week ago. Mm-hmm. And then the LA Dodgers, that's not fun. They took 2 or 3. And then they actually just lost to the Athletics a day ago, a couple days ago, too.
For sure. The one good thing that we can all talk about the American League Central right now is that 3 teams are actually in the playoffs right now with taking that third team in the American League wild card. You got the Twins in the second slot and the Kansas City Royals sitting there in the third spot with obviously the Cleveland Guardians winning the division. So that is very good news for a division that hasn't always looked like that, and some people would say the weakest division in baseball a couple years in a row there. So that's a lot of fun to see. I do believe that my Minnesota Twins have the most talented roster in the American League division at a plus 220. Yeah. I believe it's the best value play in the American League Central right now.
How about to take down that ALCS then? Because you got 2 teams at the top from the East. You got the Yankees at a plus 220, 225, 215. Yeah. Then Baltimore sitting right there behind them at a plus 400. Then it's the Mariners from out west. Yeah. They're in the 3-hole. Guardians, Twins, right there are your next 2 favorites to win the ALCS. So it's kind of interesting. You have 2 teams from the East at the top, which I think going into the season, I think people would agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mariners are holding serve. They're in that 3-hole, as we mentioned, at a plus 550, whatever you're looking at. But then Cleveland and Minnesota are kind of neck and neck.
Exactly, Andy. And the thing with the Seattle Mariners, Andy, is what I was just kind of talking about. It looks like the AL West might be the worst division in baseball this year. They only have 1 team that's over 500 on the, in the division, and that is the Seattle Mariners sitting at 44-32. So I believe they might be a little. I know that they're good. I know that they're a good team, but they might be a little bit of a fraud. So I'm not scared of the Seattle Mariners. It's obviously that team coming out of the AL East, and Twins got to take a business of the Guardians and Cleveland before they can start talking about the Yankees and Orioles. But no, at plus 800, Andy, it's as good a shot as anybody. I believe that they have the talent. If these guys stay healthy, Royce, Lewis, Carlos Correa, Byron Buxton, if they have the triple-headed monster, they're as good as anybody in baseball.
Yeah, and the Yankees just kind of flexed on the old Central. They're beating up on the Royals and the Twins back-to-back, not having a good time. I don't know what it is with the Yankees and the Minnesota Twins, but that's been the running joke for, about 200 years now.
And as long as I've been alive, I'll tell you that.
And it continues to kind of be the running joke, the old Twinkies of the punching bag of the Yankees. Do we want to talk a little bit National League Central?
I think we should, Andy, because there's a couple surprise teams out of here that have a lot of fans in our area, and we got to start talking with the St. Louis Cardinals. They started the year so badly, just got back to 500, Andy, or 1 game under. I'm just saying that they started, like 12-20 or something like that. Yeah. It was absolutely horrendous.
Really bad.
And now
they're one of 3 teams with 36 wins now in the Central.
Exactly. And they're only 7 games back from the Brewers. It's still early, still before the All-Star break. They have a lot of time. The value that's sitting out there for the Cardinals at plus 550, I do believe that they have a more talented roster and they spend more money than the Milwaukee Brewers. Yeah. They should be up there. So that plus 550, I believe, is as good as any in the National League Central.
Oh, what about the Cubs at a plus 750? I mean, they're another one of these teams. Yes, they're a game or 2 or 3
only
games.
Half game back from the the Cardinals. So it's definitely not out of the question, Andy. And I was going to talk about them as well. I like them. I really do like the Cubs for some reason to make the playoffs, Andy.
Wow.
And they're sitting right there at plus 250. I just believe that they will do it. I believe that this division is going to get 3 in as well.
You think so? And I do want to take a quick moment here and let everyone know that Arenado's X-rays came back negative.
Yeah.
He got hit by a pitch.
Yep.
It wasn't pretty. But words come out that those X-rays did come back negative. So he might get a game or two off, but he's going to be back in the lineup in no time. So that's good news for the Cardinal fans out there. A team that's a half game between the Cardinals and the Cubs are the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The Pirates.
You don't have any faith in the Pirates keeping it together?
I like their rookie. I like Paul Skeens, obviously. I'm rocking my LSU stuff right now. No, obviously he's probably going to make a run to make Rookie of the Year, and it's pretty cool to see that. And I just don't believe that they have the rosters that these two do. And like I said, these two teams are just sitting out, I believe, one spot. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals are in the wild card right now, which is absolutely crazy.
It is.
The way that they started the year.
They're a game under 500.
Exactly. And the Cubs are one game out of the wild card as well. And they get to beat up day in, day out. They get to play the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Cincinnati Reds. And I'm not scared of the Brewers either. So they get to beat up on the National League Central. I guess that is a catch-22 that they're beating themselves. Right. But I just do believe that they're going to rack up some wins, some easy wins. So I like them to both be in the wild card. And St. Louis might take this whole division down. So don't. It's kind of a crazy look. Yeah. It's kind of a crazy look. 7 games back to the Brewers right now. I just believe that it can happen. I believe they're that talented. I like the St. Louis Cardinals.
Do you got a best bet coming out of the National League? Because I know I'm looking at the LA Dodgers. I'm looking at the Dodgers to win.
It ain't the Dodgers.
They're still at plus money, plus 150.
Ain't the Dodgers.
All right, let's hear it.
Get after it. The Philadelphia Phillies are going to win the World Series.
Oh, boy.
They're going to win the World Series, Andy. This team is better than anything that I've ever seen. Yeah, they're at plus 290 to win the National League right now. Yeah. If you want to get nuts with it, go ahead and throw some money on Bryce Harper. He's going to have the biggest back half of the year of anybody in the world. Okay. He's going to steal the MVP from Shohei Ohtani. But no, I just love the Philadelphia Phillies. They are going, I believe they are going to win the World Series this year. It just feels like it's their year. I know we've been saying that for a couple of years, but
hey, kind of came out of nowhere last year, and they almost did it.
They've been there. Yep. They got the talent to do it. You're
not that wild. They got the second best odds right behind the Dodgers.
I'm not saying that the Dodgers are overrated or anything, but they're the only team with a winning record in their division.
There you go. Okay. All right.
They do have the best player in baseball, it seems, maybe 2 of them, or 3 or 4 or 5. But no, I believe the Philadelphia Phillies are going to have the most All-Stars ever in an All-Star game coming up here. And I believe they're going to win the World Series. So plus 600 right now, I believe, is the best bet coming out of the National League in World Series winner. I believe the Philadelphia Phillies will be there. Probably against the Minnesota Twins.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You had something going there.
I did have something going. And I wrote it. No.
Well. It's hard. Okay, let's do it.
One last thing I want to do is poke some holes in the Yankees. I believe that the Baltimore Orioles do have the talent to take down the Yankees in the American League East. Only 2.5 games back right now. Okay. That is a good value bet, Andy, for you as well at plus 255. Okay. I believe they're young enough. They don't get hurt. I believe the Yankees can get hurt in the back half with Judge, with Stanton, and all the big bats there. So I really like the Baltimore Orioles as a good bet. Division winner, American League East.
And we've seen the Yankees year in and year out get dinged up down the stretch, deal with injuries, and that's a fun team. Baltimore's a spunky team to watch, young team, and they hit some dingers too.
And the whole thing about it, Yankees don't they're not scared if they don't win the division. They can run through the wild card with those bats anyway, so they're not going to be pushing as much as a team like the Baltimore Orioles.
Hey, okay. I mean, you want to throw some shade at the Yankees? I'm on board. It's all right. It's all good for me.
Heck yeah.
Well, that'll about do it for us this week, folks. Be sure to follow us on ESPN Tri-City Radio and their Facebook page, and then Twitter or X now. And then also, if you haven't already, think about subscribing to our YouTube channel that has been growing, and it's a lot of fun to put out those short videos, the feature-length videos, and then reading the comments. I actually enjoy reading those comments.
Oh, yeah, get after
us. A little back and forth.
For sure, yes.
Also, got to say thanks to Rod Vermilio with the Global Sports Bet Network, dropping knowledge, making our show just a little bit smarter.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of like that.
Love that.
So, for JaBron, the Parlay Pounder, I'm Andy Classen. Thank you for listening. This has been WTL.
Herd at Sports Radio, every weekday morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Join hosts Robbie Lula and Damon Benning and our cast of Herd at Sports personalities as they share their fresh perspectives while keeping you highly entertained. Take a dive into the latest news in all things sports, from the pros to right here at home. Catch Herd at Sports Radio with Robbie Lula and Damon Benning, 7 to 10 a.m. on air, online, and on podcast. Herd at Sports Radio.